Within my role, it's about like 60% student support, which spans across a couple different things within the psychology department at Haverford, and then about 40% research management across the psychology department. So that's in fields of like social psych, cog neuro, all different kind of fields within the realm of psychology. So that's about, again, 40% of my role. And then the other 60% is student support. That could be student theses. The bulk of that comes from I teach the stats and research methods lab for the psychology department. I think a week kind of differs from week to week. There's some stability in terms of like I teach on Thursdays, every Thursday. I have two lab sections. I have Monday, Tuesday office hours, like all of that kind of remains the same. But the tasks that I have from day to day kind of differ, especially on the research management end of things. It could be, managing student schedules for our student caretakers up in the rodent vivarium for our rodent research models. It could be dealing with, student theses posting and recruitment or, some data analysis for different research studies, whatever it might be. It's really variable, which is something that I really love. And then it's also varies based on the season. So because I'm at Haverford College, they don't have summer classes, so summer is much slower, whereas fall and spring are a bit faster paced. I kind of always had an interest in research and academia and teaching, and like all of those spheres were always something that I was interested in going into college. I kind of knew I wanted to do something within the teaching and research realm of psychology. So it kind of just felt a bit more clear cut. I was just between last year, we talked about this a little bit before everyone had joined, but between doctoral programs, so continuing my education or going into the workforce. And this position had kind of come up and felt just absolutely perfect because I got those teaching opportunities and to continue with research at the master's level that I was at. For my role, I did have to be at the master's level. That was a prereq upon entering. You can't have teaching responsibilities at Haverford College without a master's degree. I think for me, like, it was best balanced with the help of all of the mentors and, professors, faculty who I had kind of a sense from and who could help point me in the directions that I was looking towards. I think having that faculty mentorship was huge for me in terms of like finding the proper balance, looking over materials, really narrowing down my job and my search when I was still going back and forth. I think for me, as much as I came into school like this is going to be my direct path, I'm going to do XYZ, and I think as I got closer and closer to graduation, I kind of loosened up with that, and it was more like, you know, while I had like a broadcast net, it was kind of a little bit of like really leaning into that support that I had for that balance, as well as like leaning into the fact that when you're interviewing anywhere, it's kind of like a mutual interview process. And that was something that I felt like um, really, really helped with that balance. So I think starting, I guess, with like, I really started with volunteering in research labs. Like the second I got to St. Joe's, I know Dr. Conry Murray was my advisor, and I was just like, please, 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 can I be in your lab? I want to do research. Like, I'll send you anything I need to send you. I'll interview whatever I need to do. And so that's really where I started in research, like upon starting at St. Joe's, which was great. And then from there, both Dr. Conry Murray and Dr. Garrigan had recommended that I apply to Dr. Mindell's lab, which was my second. Starting as a volunteer position, eventually became a job through federal work study. Um, and through there, I then got internships and jobs at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia through Dr. Mindell's recommendation. Then from that internship, got like a summer funded internship through the cardiology department at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So that was my first like research internship that wasn't A, within psychology, or B, um, kind of the most direct to kind of like that faculty um, support kind of step ladder that I touched on a little bit. Um, I also had a clinical internship. I did the clinical concentration. So there was that, which was supported through Dr. A through that internship course. But yeah, this is really my first like job or internship outside of being a student or, having a student internship. This is my first like out into the workforce job, which has been fantastic thus far. Yeah, so our institutional diversity, equity, and access office has tons and tons and tons of resources. Haverford, in and of itself, is really the like quicker education style that we have is really focused on dialogue and action, and I think it's very similar to the Jesuit education in a lot of ways. But we have that focus on dialogue, so we actually get like micro actions and things sent to us like weekly or every other week where we can like read or view something, really, take that information in and respond to it. We have different dialogue section there's sessions, so I know we have like fireside chats where we'll talk about different topics related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think they have a new thing called like eating dinner with 12 strangers, so you'll get together with different people on campus and all talk about a particular whether it be campus climate issue, world climate issue, um, equity access issue that we can further improve upon, and or like social justice issues. We have Foundations for Inclusive Excellence, which is a great series that I've opted into over the past year. So it'll be like every month or 2 months, we'll have a different topic of, diversity, equity, inclusion, how to, promote continual learning, do better, take action. Um, yeah, I think they're really big on policy advocacy and just community engagement as well in terms of those kinds of things. So like sourcing things out to the local or like doing projects that can then be beneficial for the local community as well or the surrounding community. We'll have different like service projects that kind of promote that equity and access. I think for me, the big thing would be it's okay to not know exactly what you want to do. I think I talked about it a little bit, but I came in like super rigid. I'm going to do this step, then this step, then this step. And while I held to those steps a little bit, I think having more comfortability with the unknown would have lent itself really well again to that. Like, I feel like during interview processes, it kind of alleviates some stress and again focuses light on that like it's a mutual interview kind of thing. It's like it's okay to not know exactly that this company is where I'm going to end up. It's okay to like go through each step and learn more as you go, which obviously lends itself to research and academia in general as well, and that lifelong kind of learning process.
Mhm.
I think for whatever field, if it's research related, I would say definitely research labs were huge for me. If it's, I think in terms of just general conversational skills, organization, things like that, my clubs and organizations really helped. I know, like the Psychi mentorship program. I don't know if that's still happening and growing. That was great to participate in. I did the honors mentorship program, so that really helped with a lot of the organization and managerial tasks that I have. Um, I think just in general, being in those clubs and organizations helped with my general like time management and structure. Yeah, I think just taking advantage of some of the organizations and opportunities that you have, especially for me, those research opportunities and labs are huge. I know that's not conducive to every field, but within psychology, I think even if you don't plan to go into research, research can be helpful for being a good, consumer if you end up being a clinician and need to view research for best practices. So I highly encourage any of those kind of routes. Can't stress enough research methods and stats. I feel, I'm not obligated to say that. I swear I do truly. I loved research methods and stats. Obviously, I love it enough that I teach research methods and stats lab. So, um, yeah, I think research methods and stats was huge. I honed in my writing skills, I honed in my stats skills. I really just grew as a researcher through those courses, learning best like research practices, best analytical practices. I think in grad school, those advanced statistics courses, if you ever get the opportunity to take them, would be fantastic. I'm thinking yeah, I think really any kind of research focused class like research senior research seminar, and I did an independent study, which is where I did my honors capstone through. So I think any of those were like super duper helpful for what I do day to day now. I think the biggest thing that I've kind of touched on is really reaching out to, faculty, student support, any student support system that you can get your hands on, I think was super helpful for me. That's my biggest point of advice, especially like I think it was nice knowing that like no one that I know like personally had, like my family or friends or anything at different colleges, like everyone is either on par with the level I was at in the job process or, had no clue what I was talking about in the psychology job search. So I think that faculty mentorship and that mentorship from like the Career Development Center and everything like that was absolutely huge for me. And I would highly encourage everyone to utilize those resources. Again, I think clubs were super helpful because you're learning communication skills, you're learning accountability. Um, in the honors program in particular, I did through the mentorship program some collaboration with the honors program at the University of Sciences before the merger. So I got a lot of experience there that was helpful in terms of collaboration outside of the organization, building communities then within the organization. That's maybe not the most pertinent, but I think clubs give a lot of opportunities to learn those skills um, that are conducive to the job setting, just maybe feel a little bit more indirect. I think also internships were super helpful. Again, I did kind of scaffold those off of my mentorship through people in the psychology department, but I think that internships like my clinical internship was helpful again for learning, you know, different job tasks, whether it be, you know, taking effective notes. So it was clinical, but I had to take notes on, different therapy sessions. So even that's reflective of some of the things that I do now. Still a lot of conversation, collaboration. I think a lot of these things just taught a lot of open communication style and time management skills.